Hi again. In 30 Years of Watchtower Slave, William Schnell, this is page 57 in the chapter Sifting. Now he deals not only with the sifting at local congregation level that took place over about a 13-year period from 1925 to 1938, but the sifting at Bethel headquarters. All this had required, in the first place, a reorganized Bethel office, fully in harmony with New Brooklyn policy. This step was accomplished in Bethel from 1924 to 1926, to which time my discussion has now arrived. During the time of readjustment, all recalcitrants were carefully weeded out. This necessitated a terrific turnover of personnel. In fact, during these 2 years, we had an average turnover of 75%. House rules, formulated and patterned after the new rules set up by the new Watchtower clique in the Brooklyn office, were so rigid and arbitrary that they appeared almost unacceptable to many who otherwise considered seriously going to Bethel at a voluntary sacrifice of earning power and comforts of personal life. It was agreeable to all of us that the Watchtower Society did not pay anything for services rendered, since we felt we were serving the Lord, and being unencumbered and single, we required nothing but food and shelter and a few clothes. However, in these new rules, the society was exacting what amounted to thought control as well as behavior control, after the fashion of a penal institution. The entire setup was negative and on a thou shalt not basis. Many felt that this was unwarranted. These naturally refused to sign the house rules and this new code. This achieved exactly what the society wanted. The purpose behind this action was to ferret out all who might not be wholly committed to the new policy of the Watchtower Society. The Watchtower feigned scriptural backing for such sifting, as they called it. They interpreted the biblical narrative of the deliverance of Israel under the leadership of Gideon from the yoke of the Midianites, and that's recorded, by the way, in Judges 7, as describing the society's work of deliverance as led by the anti-typical Gideon Jesus and those elected to work with it, or selected to work with it. As in the scriptural event which they misused, the member was finally sifted to a mere, the event which they misused as was about the number finally sifted to a mere 300 who drank water standing up. So they argued in the columns of the Watchtower, would the society be accepted by the antitypical Gideon finally be surrounded by a small, zealous group to whom eventually would be given the victory. They made much of this picture and seemed to draw much comfort from it when their ranks became decimated because of the society's arbitrary behavior. He said elsewhere that during this period, across the world, probably 3/4 of the affiliates of the Watchtower Society broke away or were thrown away. The sifting in Bethel had by 1926 been accomplished. Now the society felt it had the pure gold out of which it hoped eventually to fashion the head of gold of the theocracy, illustrated by the image of Daniel 2:31-34. And now that this had been accomplished within the precincts of Bethel, they felt they could extend the process of taking on a 150-kilometer radius idea. I understand that this was patterned after what occurred in Brooklyn, where such Bethelites were sent out to help and assist congregations within a 200-mile radius. In our 150-kilometer radius, we were instructed to establish first insensibly, and then more pronounced, the new order of things, based on book selling, time reporting, business meeting attendance for training, and finally, Watchtower study for continuous indoctrination. Soon, by 1927, these congregations became the pattern for all Germany. Next time, he's dealing with society double talk during this period. This sifting really amounts to a purging, doesn't it? I'll put in a link to 3 videos we did on the subject of this kind of Bible interpretation, using the Gideon story, for instance, to justify your sifting or purging the existing organization in the mid-20s. The title of these 3 videos is Humpty Dumpty Hermeneutics, And the reason we selected that is because you might remember Humpty Dumpty's rule as to how to interpret words. And if you don't, then just watch the first video and we'll read Lewis Carroll's message from, I think it's Alice Through the Looking Glass, but one of the two Alice books, as to how we can correctly know the meaning of words. That's the first of 3 videos, which are, of course, linked together. How not to interpret the Bible. See you next time.